And welcome back. We are back on the Attitude Era. We are back. We have Pro Wrestling 225 back in the building for their next upcoming event, Super Gold 9. I am King HP. This is the greatest healing podcast wrestling today, the Archie Carter. And if you don't recognize them, let me say their names again. I don't want to mess them up. But Brett Landry and Jordan Pujol, right?
That's right.
All right. There we go. So
General Manager and El Presidente are back in the building. Attitude Era Podcast. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and my boss here again.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Yeah. So, Super Gold. We just gonna get right into it. Last time we talked, you got into what 225 is, where 225s come from. We talked about the homecoming event, which was insane, and now we are looking at Super Gold. Yes. What is Super Gold?
Super Gold is the signature event of Pro Wrestling 225, primarily because it was the original event of Pro Wrestling 225. I mentioned before that Pro Wrestling 225 was started in like late 2016. It was kind of founded then. The very first show was in February of 2017, and that was Super Gold. And Super Gold has been our Royal Rumble. We do it every single year. We've got surprises. We've got random entries, men, women from all over. It's a great event. And yeah, we cap it off with that huge Super Gold Rumble. Everybody loves a Rumble, right? Everybody loves a Battle Royal.
Sometimes we rumble here between ourselves on Attitude Podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so we mark the beginning of our year off with Super Gold every year. And it's the biggest show that we do every year. So it really sets the stage for how Pro Wrestling 225 is going to look for the rest of the calendar.
So it's a Royal Rumble time match, but this is pretty much the WrestleMania of Pro Wrestling 225.
Exactly. Imagine if WrestleMania ended every year with the main event as the Royal Rumble.
That would be
crazy. That actually would be a great idea.
That would be crazy.
That is what we do for Super Gold. So it is our biggest matches. It is our biggest moments, and it ends with our biggest match of the year. So, yeah, it's a landmark tentpole event for 225, and again, it really sets the stage for the year ahead.
Like we talked about the rollout you guys do. Everybody's been putting out promos. Yeah. I'm this person. I'm entering Super Gold. This is what I'm going to do. The rollout has been really, really good. And also, I've seen the montage of past winners.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a thing.
Yeah, Super Gold is it's a huge deal. I mean, if you look at all those videos, like people posting, like I'm declaring for Super Gold, right? That's one of the most fun parts of Rumble season. You know, who's in the Rumble, like who's going to declare, and then the Royal Rumble has 30 guys. Super Gold typically has about 20, 25, kind of flexes depending on the year, but we all know as soon as we get close to Royal Rumble, not all 30 have been announced.
Right.
Maybe 20 some odd have been announced. Wow, we got who are the extra ones? Who we're going to see? We don't know. Are they free agents? Are they from other promotions? Are they from what? The fact that you don't know makes it exciting, and that is exactly what we do at Super Gold too. Not every Super Gold entrant is going to be announced. We don't know who's going to be in it. It could be people from other promotions in the area. It could be Archie. Archie could come out from the back.
Hey, HP, we need some gold on this show, brother.
We need some gold on this show. I agree. That does sound very interesting.
Hey, can you put the flyer up real quick so the people can actually see, get the information? I want to ask Jordy a question. I saw you post that this was like one of the best years in 225. Can you talk a little bit about the success that you guys have seen and expansion? Because you've grown a little from what I've seen as well.
Yeah, so we had a landmark merger with Movement Wrestling and brought them into our mix. We reached out, did some new cities, ran some new towns. We ran 12 shows this year, which is a record for us. We broke our gate record, our online sales record, attendance records. I mean, it was just the best year we've ever had. And, we want to see it continue. And a big part of that year was breaking into the Gonzalez market, a big success story for us getting into the Gonzalez market. And so we are in many ways supporting the city of Gonzalez with the 9th Super Bowl event, right? So this is the first Super Gold to be held in Gonzalez. It's a really big deal to have your first Super Gold. We had Super Gold 8 in Homa, was the first time they hosted Super Gold. Homa showed up and showed out, and Gonzalez is going to be a sellout for sure, and it's going to be a huge hot live ticket.
Yeah.
Let me get ready to put an overlay up real quick. I'm going to go ahead and.
That's it. So if you are in the Gonzalez area, Super Gold, it's going down. We talking Baton Rouge, Denham, you know, the whole area. If you are in or around this, Pro Wrestling 225 has some of the best talent I've seen up close in wrestling, and one of the best locker rooms and production teams. Me and Brett, you know, we talk show day and, you know, kind of chit chat on Facebook. I haven't really sat down with Jordy, and the few times I have, it's been during the show doing things like setting up the ring, setting up the seating. And I say that to say, you guys are very hands-on with your product. And it shows, because not only did you have a successful, you had a historical year when you had the first ever women's cage match in Louisiana wrestling history with a Brooklyn Barry versus T Gaines. And like Pro Wrestling 225 is, where do you guys see it, you know, if you could forecast in your mind going?
Man, it's a big question. The way that I look at it personally, you know, Pro Wrestling 225 started in Baton Rouge, 225 area code, right? Baton Rouge is the capital of Louisiana. We want to be the capital of independent wrestling in Louisiana. And we are well on our way with that. Again, the landmark year that we've had, going into 9 years in consecutive production, which is pretty huge for an independent company, especially in the Gulf Coast area. I mean, and I say uninterrupted, well, COVID aside, uninterrupted, right? Even during COVID, Pro Wrestling 225 ran shows in Mississippi and Texas. So it's one of the longest running uninterrupted independent promotions in the entire region down here. Take a lot of pride in that. And every year, something steps up. Something more happens, whether we add another couple of cities, whether we acquire another company like Jordy mentioned, Movement Wrestling out in Lafayette, absorbing them and growing our footprint there, whether it's putting on historic matches like that women's cage match we talked about.
That's insane.
New television. We've got local television in the Baton Rouge area, working on local television in the Houma area. We want to be able to be seen on local TV in every city that we run in. So you can watch us at home, but if you want to go see it, great. We're 10, 15 minutes from your house. Like, we want to make sure the viewing area is fully covered. There's a lot of ambition that we have. And honestly, you mentioned that we're hands-on, and yeah, we are, but we couldn't do it without the production team that we have in place. I mean, Last Match Standing is our production team. They do a fantastic job. Spencer and Landon, our commentary team, the production team that they brought along with them. Gabby and yourself, Archie, who have lent so much personality and so much gravitas to our interviewing and our hosting segments that we do. It's a big deal. It's a team effort, you know.
Gravitas. Did you just cuss me out?
Yeah, nah.
I think nobody ever called me a gravitas before.
Gravitas.
But what happens is,
that sounds like a finishing move, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, I might have to pull that out at the Super Gold. That's how I'm taking it home. But I got involved because I went to the Halloween show. I want to say maybe a year or so ago, and I just was kind of in town, and I was like, "Yo, this is a really good show." And then I followed Hunter Law, who I met in 2020 at a convention I was performing at in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I saw he was part of 225, and I said, okay, I want to check out more. Then I just was like, yo, I slid in the DMs one day like, hey, I don't care what I need to do. I just want to be a part of what you guys are going on, because it just, from the outside looking in, it was well done. It looked good. I had a great time. And then being on the other side of it, it's well done and it feels good. Like, what I really enjoy about the Pro Wrestling 225 team and staff and locker room is that it's old school. Like, I think wrestling is as young as it's probably ever been with the independents, and it's really young. But when I go to 225, the wrestlers step in the room, they greet everybody, right? That's old school.
Yeah.
They're tearing down rings themselves. Like, it's old school. And it's like, man, it's good to see that some of that still exists in pro wrestling. And I was like, yo, I just want to be a part of this. And let me tell you, setting up a ring ain't easy. Tearing down a ring ain't easy. So imagine wrestling and still doing that, because it's something you enjoy and love, and the production team, like everything about it, I just enjoy, man. And when I'm there, I get lost in it sometimes. I'm like, I'm supposed to be here working, but this match is cooking right now.
But I think
we're fortunate to have some very good veteran leadership in the locker room, and fortunate to have a staff that is largely and not even largely, but entirely drama free, and we've become a well-oiled machine, and I attribute a lot of our success to our ability to stay together and to stay on the same page over the years. And there's not any infighting. There's no drama in the locker. I mean, we've really been a tight knit group for a long time, and I attribute a lot of our success to that.
Yeah, well, I think that kind of adds to it though too. When you have the entire team, right? Because a lot of people may not get the ins and outs of wrestling. They're a character. They do this. They do that. That's it, right? I'm not part of production. I'm not part of the setup. I'm not part of but I think that adds a layer of insight to the wrestlers about like even like picking spots and doing things and camera setups and where the crowd is and understanding that. Is that not a thing, or has that helped you guys, or has it or is it just not?
Yeah, no, it's all part of it. When we say team effort, and that's really not an exaggeration. It really is the full team effort. I mean, everybody that's there from setup to breakdown, it's everybody, whether it's on the production team, whether they're wrestlers that are competing on the card that night, whether it's, referees, cameramen, everybody. Like everybody is lending in to set up chairs, set up the ring, tear it down, load it up. And kind of to what Jordy and I talked about this earlier today, and what Jordy just said a minute ago. There's no struggle or dramatic infighting. Whatever. There's none of that is here. It's a very, I hesitate to use the word family, right? But it's a very cooperative locker room. Everybody knows who we are, what our goals are, and what we're trying to do. So everybody lends a hand where they can. How can I help? How can I be of service? Yeah, I'm doing XYZ on the card tonight. What else can I do to also do that? Right. And then there's some of us that, like Jordy and myself and others on the staff, that are working on 225 things when we're not at the show day. It's the planning ahead. It's the booking the venues. It's the creative. It's all that stuff. All that comes into it. And I think we're all very collaborative and cooperative. And I can't ask of something better. And anyone that doesn't kind of fit in that mold, if it's somebody that like shows up, wrestles their match, and leaves, they're usually not around long. And that's not a detriment to them. That's not to say that, we get those guys out. They just don't fit because everybody pitches in. And it just it really is a team sport mentality. If you ever played team sports, right? Football, baseball, your team, right? You do anything for your team. You have your teammates' backs. And wrestling is very much
because it's not just like a one-shot type of production. No, if you haven't seen it, I mean, Pro Wrestling 225, check it out on YouTube. It's multi-camera shots.
Yep.
It's promos before matches. It's promos after matches. Let me tell you, getting those ain't easy when shows going on. Everybody's scrambling, right? And like I said, it's multi-shots, it's edits, it's the commentating team, it's the announcers, it's the music, it's the lights, it's a full production. My first show, I was like, yo, it's work. It's work.
Yeah. And really
you have people who don't mind doing the work, and it shows in the product. You know how when people cook and they say, oh, they put their foot in this? Like, it's like, because they love it and they enjoy it. So, I mean, 225 is putting their foot in the wrestling game in Louisiana and spreading out. Man, I enjoy it. And if you can catch Super Gold, I'm telling you, this is WrestleMania. HP, I think you might have to come in for this.
Hey, February is a good month for me. It's the birthday month and all that. I might have to gift myself with presents. No pun intended, right?
We'd love to have you
to pop in February 1st. Yeah, that's a big date. I have a question as far as you guys talked about production and doing more. How many events on average, big, like your big ones, maybe not, because how many like we see these bigger organizations, right? WWE, they have like almost like their season where it starts with Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. They have their big PLEs and stuff. For you guys, about how many events is it for you? And are you looking to grow that, or do you feel like, no, we're kind of right where we want to be?
Yeah. Last year, like Jordy had mentioned earlier, we did our first year with 12 events. So basically one a month, right?
Yeah.
I would say 10 to 12 events is a comfortable spot to be in.
Right.
And then our larger events, like the ones that we really put some emphasis and accentuation
Like
on,
Super Gold?
like Super Gold. We do have a couple of those during the year. We've got Super Gold. The show that Archie was talking about that he attended, Fright Night, is our Halloween show that we do every year.
Nice.
Some guys dress up sometimes. We do some really fun looks for those shows. We also do the Mayor's Cup as well, which is a trophy tournament that we do every year. So there's a few that we put some accentuation on.
I hate to be this guy, but I like tournaments, right? So can you please walk me through the Mayor's Cup? Make me familiar to what that is and what goes into that, because I like people. Yeah.
The Mayor's Cup actually doesn't have a set structure, so we do it a little differently every year. It's just always a tournament style, and it always has some sort of theme. Like one year it was an all women's Mayor's Cup. It's different themes every year that go into it. This year, the Mayor's Cup had to do with our friends at a training center in Lafayette, and so at Joey Jackson's training center, and so the Louisiana Wrestling Alliance, their training center. We brought the Mayor's Cup over to them, and so the Mayor's Cup, it's a different theme every year. We kind of get together. Hey, what do we want to do for the Mayor's Cup this year? But it's always in a tournament format, and it's always something new and fresh and exciting.
I love tournaments. The reason why I love tournaments too, I think it also gives wrestlers a chance to show faster paced setting, because you don't know who your next opponent is, and the crowd, we're like, it could be this guy, it could be this person, and leads to that lore. Who can win? And you start, picking your favorites and stuff like that. So I always like tournaments. I think tournaments are great. So definitely keep that up. And you said that's the May time frame?
Sometime in the middle of the year, usually. Okay. Mayor's Cup is usually sometime in late spring, early summer, I believe.
Gotcha, that's right.
Kind of flexible, but yeah, those are certain shows that we put little extra mustard on those, because we know they're going to be special. We know they're going to be big. Awesome. But I think 10 to 12 a year is a good sweet spot. And, kind of like Archie was talking about, these aren't just, one-shot shows that we're doing. So we do have to be careful with the volume, right? So we are producing a TV product. There are multiple camera shots. There are interviews going on during the show backstage. There are promos and segments going on during the show backstage. We do live commentary, and that commentary is done live and then edited in post for the show that we put on television. The show that goes on local television is then uploaded to our YouTube channel 24 hours later, so you can see that episode if you don't live in the area. So it is a full production, and it is a lot of work. So on an independent level, to do that, I would say more than once or twice a month would be kind of stretching our production team thin. And we don't want to do that because for two reasons. We don't want the quality of the events to suffer. And two, we don't want the quality of our people to suffer, right? We couldn't do what we do if it wasn't for the people that we have on our team. And we don't want people to get burnt out. We want everybody to come together and not just do their best work, but to have a good time. They're wrestling, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want that show. I don't mean to cut you off, Brett, but that show is called Pro Wrestling 225 Unleashed. That's and if you haven't, you've watching this, you're on YouTube probably. So type it in, Pro Wrestling 225. Give them a follow, give them a like, subscribe, and check out Unleashed and everything else they have going on. Super Gold is on the way. It's the WrestleMania, but I want to ask you, Jordy and Brett, what's your favorite event of the year outside of if it's Super Gold, and if not, what's your favorite?
It is Super Gold. Super Gold's our that's our favorite. I mean, I'll answer that quickly. That's the event. That's the one I look forward to every year more than any other. I'm literally in December. I'm literally going, man. I'm only a month and a half away from Super Gold. I can't wait for Super Gold. It's my favorite show of the year. My second favorite show would probably be Fright Night, just because it's a great kids show. It's a great family show. The kids dress up in costumes. We usually have costume contests and everything. All the wrestlers usually buy into it, have great themes. They come out, dressed as different characters, or they'll come out, you know, as slightly different versions of themselves. They have fun with it, and it's just a lot of fun. Brett was in the spirit one year, I remember.
Oh, yeah. A couple times. That's my answer, by the way, Fright Night, because I love Fright Night. Halloween, so exciting. One year I've done Kevin Owens, we see the resemblance. Another year we did the Wyatt family, the Overboys and I did Wyatt's together, which was great. It's just fun to, you know, let go and bring some of your fandom into your presentation. I just think it's such a fun night to do. So Fright Night that's my favorite. Super Gold is fantastic, but Halloween has my heart.
I'm excited about Super Gold. You mentioned the Overboys. We haven't talked about it much this conversation. We have in the previous one, but the Pro Wrestling 225 roster is a lot of good talent on the roster, and you have people who've come in from different places, as far as Texas to the East Coast, and it's like I really like what's going on in 225. Like the current roster. What are your thoughts on your current roster in Pro Wrestling 225?
Yeah, I think right now, and I think Jordy will back me up on this. I think right now, the roster that we have in place is the best we've had in the 9 years that the company has existed. And I think that is from a standpoint of entertainment, from athleticism, from every measurable that you can put against a professional wrestler. I think that what we have right now is the best that we've had in the last decade we've been in business. And to accentuate that, there's a lot of different independent wrestling organizations that are in any given area, right? And when you're there in a city or state that has a lot of indie wrestling, you do tend to run into the same guys on the same shows pretty often. And if you're in an area that is too inundated with independent wrestling, then you're going to see basically the exact same cards rearranged on different nights at different times. We very explicitly avoid that. We do our very best to avoid that because we want our fans that are paying money to come see our show. We want them to have that variety. We want them to see people that they may have not seen before or haven't seen in a while. So we book guys from way back in the past. We book guys that are present. We book guys that are local. We book guys that are out of state. Just at Homecoming, we saw Fuego del Sol, who is an AEW superstar for quite a while. Sam Stackhouse, who has been making a lot of waves on the indie scene down here, especially in the Texas region. He's got NWA that he did as well. We want to bring in those guys and get our audience, the independent wrestling audience in the Baton Rouge area that we do the majority of our events. They haven't seen a lot of these guys, right? We want to put them on display to show like, hey, our locals are great, but these guys are great too. And we want to mix everybody up and give them fresh, exciting matches because, you know, that just variety is a spice of life, right? Same thing on a wrestling show. We want to give them the buffet. You know, not everybody's going to like the same flavor of ice cream, but we want to give you as many flavors as we can.
Right.
That's the idea.
Yeah, it's another thing I really enjoy about Pro Wrestling 225. Like you have good singles, you have some really good factions in Pro Wrestling 225. Like I really enjoy the factions, and I mean you kind of maybe sort of might be part of one. We don't know, general manager, how that's going to play out because you actually got a little physical this past year with some of the things going on.
Yeah. Kind of runs in the line of work. Before being a general manager, I was a manager for many years. And Jordy, before he was the president of the company, was a referee for many years. We've both taken our share of licks. So we've been there. We felt it. But yeah, it comes with the work. I think inspired by the 1996, 1997 gang wars of WWF and the Attitude Era. I thought
don't get HP started. See how his face lit up? He is a wrestling historian. We're gonna be on 2 hours if I let him go.
Oh, he and Brett will get along.
We're here to talk about Super Gold.
That's
just
definitely
coming off of Homecoming, which is exciting. If you haven't seen that conversation, go check out the conversation. It's a good conversation, great event. I'm not gonna hold you too long, guys. Before we get up out of here, I just have to know. HP, got anything before I ask this question?
I do. I kind of wanted to put them on the spot a little
Go
bit.
ahead.
Each
Do
one,
it.
because this is your 9th year and you have such a run with and Super Bowl being the premier event. Looking back, what Super Gold was the one for you? Now, maybe it was from a entertainment standpoint, or maybe it was a business standpoint. But what was the one that was like it stands out to you so far as like that was my favorite one, and then why? Why was it?
So for me, I think I know Brett's answer already.
I think you do, Jordan.
Yeah. I'll let him say it. But for me, I didn't think we'd be able to top 4, which was the one that Corey Constantine won the main event. It was a phenomenal show. It's the only time we've done that particular venue, and which regrettable. I'm trying to get back there because it was a fantastic venue in Plaquemine. And it was just a great show, top to bottom. We had great matches. The Rumble was excellent. And then 2 years later, I think we topped it. I think Super Gold 6 might have been the best show we've done. It was a phenomenal show with huge drama. We did not have a single match in that show under 15 minutes. Every match was long and dramatic and amazing, and had the crowd on its feet the entire time. And it was just a really, really special event. Lucha Lacora won the Rumble. It was a really great Rumble. Super Gold 6 is probably the one for me, and I think I know Brett's.
Yeah. This one's very, very personal. But Lucky 7.
That's it.
Super Gold 7 was the culmination of a sort of a multi-year story. We touched upon me being the manager of the Overboys, Christian Blake, Jordan Jock. Christian Blake had been in the Final Four of every Super Gold up until that point, 6 years running, and had never won. And that night, finally, Lucky 7, he won. And I was there at ringside with him. And
from the number 1 spot.
Yeah, that's right. From the number 1 spot.
58 minutes.
He was the first Super Gold winner to win at number 1. Is that right?
That's right.
That's right. And he also obviously held the record for longest in Super Gold. So almost an hour. And he finally got that albatross off from around his neck. And he won Super Gold 7. And we got to celebrate with him. And that was, again, a multi-year story of trial and tribulation and triumph. And, Pro Wrestling 225 is all about storytelling. And those moments just are so sweet. They're so good. And
I can tell right now because just from the way you're telling, like as soon as we get off from here, I'm going to YouTube. And I want to celebrate too.
Yeah, man, it was amazing. That was a really, really good night. I do agree with Jordy that Super Gold 6 was incredible because that one, as a precursor to this story, Christian was in the final 2 of Super Gold 6. So that was made 7 even more poignant. And I think one of the things that we do the best is our storytelling. And that was just a great example of how good we are at that.
Yeah, storytelling is a huge part of it. Like I said, this year that I've been involved in, I'm like, yo, I don't know what to do. It's just I'm there and I get lost in the show every time. I remember me and Mustang Mike, we sat and watched Vordell and Steve Anthony damn near kill each other. And we was like little kids in the back. And Mustang Mike has been wrestling, 30 years, I believe, right? This year he's still a fan of it, right? Jordy, you mentioned Lucha Lacora. Lucha Lacora, Vordell, Steve Anthony, these guys, they wrestle like it's their last match ever. They take HP. I'd be scared. I'm like, bro, why do you do this to yourself? But they still love it. But then you mentioned a Jordan Ja, who's damn near a superhero in the ring. Like his moveset is crazy. Then you have a Braxton Hunter, a Wes Warren, a Simon Phillips, who are the younger guys. So when I mention that roster, it's a lot of talent. Like I said, you might have somebody who's been there maybe starting out 3-4 years, but you have a veteran in a Mustang Mike who can help and who can guide. And I'm just observing and I'm taking notes like I'm about to wrestle because these guys have the experience. And I mean, they have it. Like I said, Pro Wrestling 225 I enjoy it. I went there as a fan. I'm still a fan. They just put a microphone in my hand, HP, and I don't know why. But last question, Super Gold predictions. I've been seeing the rollouts. I've been seeing the participants. I've been seeing everybody. I'm going to win. Look, any favorites, any predictions, anything? This is my first Super Bowl, so
yeah,
I don't know what to expect. I'm excited. I just want to know if you got any predictions before we get up out of here. HP, can you throw that flyer up one more time for me so we can get the information out to the people? Let them know. Louisiana, Mississippi, hell, Texas, you close.
Yeah.
Super Bowl Saturday, February 1st. It's the WrestleMania. I hate to say that, but there's no other way to describe your biggest event of the year other than WrestleMania, right?
That's right.
It's the Pro Wrestling 225's biggest event. It's the Super Bowl. It's the WrestleMania. It's the World Series. It's something you don't want to miss. If you're in the area, please check it out. Look at the card, man. Like you have, got the Kings of the Old School on there. I see Big Ramp ENT, the Killjoys, who I really enjoy, and so many others. The Pillar, like it's a lot of talent. From then, and you're gonna, these names I'm mentioning, you're gonna hear in the future, definitely.
Yeah.
But
and let me mention, you're looking at it right now. That date might look familiar. February 1st. Yes, that is the same day as the Royal Rumble. But you look at that time. Our show starts earlier, like late afternoon. So that
3 p.m. I'm sorry. 3 p.m. doors open, right?
That's right. Yeah. 3 p.m. That's right. Doors at 3, bells at 4. By the time you get home from the show, you can settle right in for the Rumble. So you can do both in the same day. 2 Rumbles in the same day doesn't get better. Well, they have the women's 3 Rumbles in the same day, right? You got the men's WWE plus Super Gold. You've got a full Rumble day. On
Speaking
February.
of which, I'll go first here, Brett, on predictions, right? So I'm usually decline making a prediction at all.
HP, we done got an exclusive, man.
I got
to change the title.
I'll tell you who I'm rooting for, and I'm not supposed to root for anyone, but this year the women's champion has declared for the Rumble, and I would really love to see T Gaines go all the way. I would really love to see that.
HP T Gaines, right?
I would love to see that.
They call her Quadzilla.
Yeah,
I will say that I really like what I've seen lately out of Hunter Law with Big Ramp Enterprises. I think he has a great chance to make waves and go deep in the Rumble and potentially win it. Braxton Hunter is in great position. I think he could go all the way, the SEC champion, and go and challenge for the heavyweight title. Those are 2 guys that I could really see going deep and winning it all.
Yeah, those are really solid picks. I do think that someone as young and as hungry as Braxton Hunter is absolutely on the table. I would love to see him come into his own and win a Super Gold. That would be incredible. I don't necessarily approve of his methods and actions, but you talk about these young guns that are coming up, like Simon Phillips. I mean, these are guys that are going to be not just the future of Pro Wrestling 225, but the future of wrestling in this area and beyond. And I think he's got a really good shot at the whole thing, not just winning Super Gold, but going really far in 225. There's a lot of guys that are coming up right now, young guys that may surprise us. And then again, those are those wild card positions in Super Gold too. We don't know who else is going to be there. Maybe it's Archie. Maybe Archie slide in at the last minute and dump Braxton Hunter.
Hey, hey, it's wrestling. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
I'm in decent. I'm in Super Gold shape. I got a month.
HP, maybe if you come by, maybe
I think I'm gonna have
the worst thing could happen is
and I might be on the way.
He's gonna party from this Super Gold to next Super Gold.
I don't think we could miss out on that Archie and HP face-off moment in the middle of the ring at Super Gold, though. Who's gonna toss? Who's tossing who?
Come on.
Hold on, let me put that flyer back.
Trying to break up my faction, Brett. This is what you're doing, man. Oh man. But man, Pro Wrestling 225, one of the best and hottest wrestling organizations. You call it indie, you call it pro, I call it wrestling. It's one of the best pro wrestling organizations out right now in the Louisiana area. Like I said, I got introduced to it 2020 from Hunter Law being in Raleigh wrestling, following him. Then I saw Simon Phillips in Florida. So you guys definitely have a good reach on masses, and I'm a fan. I'm part of it. You might see me on Unleashed talking crazy, asking the hard-hitting questions with the production team. And this is my first Super Gold. Brett, thank you. Jordy, thank you. HP, you got anything else before we get up out of here?
No, I salute you, brothers. Because one, you didn't just start a wrestling company out of the blue. Like you were a referee, you were a manager, you were in the weeds, and to see you guys build this from the ground up, staying in touch with the wrestlers, staying in touch with the community is big. And I wish you all the best. And I might have to fly out to Louisiana.
The fans,
I'm excited.
You got a spot.
Hey, the fan base. You talking about? Look, it's like that. Pro Wrestling 225 is like that.
I might have to pop out February 1st.
Super Gold. I am the Archie Carter. That is King HP Attitude Era Podcast with Pro Wrestling 225.
Thanks, guys.
Thank y'all.